Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below this video once the video has rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join the panel, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, of course, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior and Ranty. How are you both doing, gentlemen?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Just woke up, so I'm not fully compass mentis at the minute, but I'll get there.
Gonna wait for hours.
You're not normally compass mentis even when you're awake.
Thanks very much.
No
You're
worries.
supposed to be on my side, you know.
So you just sent me a video before we started of Coolpix P900 video. Do you want to tell us what it's of? Because I couldn't quite see it on my screen in the daylight.
The Isle of Man.
Isle of Man.
From Blackpool, yes.
60 plus miles, right?
65 miles plus, yeah.
Wow, that's a long old way, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's a sensational video. When I saw it last night, I could immediately tell it was something special to be maybe given further publicity. If you want to have do you want to present that, Anthony?
I'm gonna let the dog out. Hang on.
We'll get it up in a moment. One of you, if you could. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I scanned through it and could see the wind farms, but just couldn't get enough resolution on my screen. Not resolution, clarity, contrast.
Right. Are you watching the back door, Ranty?
I am, yeah.
Okay then. In that case, then I'll fire it up. I went on
that fireball to come in so I can kick his ass.
I went on the Slice Hangout the other night. Totally forgot about the do not share the link rule. Obviously, because I'm used to I'm not having to worry about sharing the link. And Sly was like, "Dude, why are you sharing my link?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry."
Did it cause any problems? Did he shut it down and just start again, or what did he do?
What I did in response to, I just manned the back door for him in the background so that if anybody did join, I sniped him immediately. It was meant to be a one-on-one, and he kept it as a one-on-one, which is great.
That's good.
But I kept the back door protected so that if anybody did join, like Fireball or whatever, they were just gone straight away.
Future reference: if that happens to anyone else, immediately just end the hangout. You know, it's just not worth risking your channel over a hangout. You know, just end it, start another one. Don't mess around with the back door, because if somebody does manage to get you out, that can be the end of your channel. They just stick a porno on and that's it. End of channel.
Yeah. So I kept the back door protected, like, to some degree, so that he had at least a layer of protection for my mistake. So apologies to Sly. I didn't mean to do that. It was an accident, because I'm used to the comforts of Nathan's chat where we can not worry about the link. Anyway, back down to real Earth. So how many miles away was this? 70?
65.
65, buddy. Essentially, on a very, very good day, you should only ever see the very, very top of Snaefell.
Now, to those that argue, "Oh, look, man, you're not seeing as much as obscurity." No, it's not obscurity. What we're seeing is as something gets further away from you, it gets smaller. That's what we're seeing. It's called perspective. Now, the word perspective it's like a general term. It's like a generalized term to mean anything. But what we should really be talking about when we say perspective is the smaller something goes from you, the further away it's getting, because that is what perspective is. And this is a perfect example of it. So the question you've got to ask yourself is there any obscurity by the Earth curve, or is it getting smaller because it's getting further away? And of course, it's getting further away. It's 70 miles away. Notice how the turbines are not following the curvature of the Earth. The turbines are bigger because they are closer. Notice how that they're not following any curve. That's a really good part. Look at that there.
Just leave it to run. Just let it play through.
I would. Yeah, I'd go back a minute or so, and then.
I mean,
Look at how the turbines
once it's played,
create straight lines. They're not creating curves, right? That's one of the things I noticed immediately. It's fantastic. And obviously this was caught because it was a clear day, not because it was super refraction conditions that made it perfect to be able to see these things. It was just a clear day. You can see it's a clear day.
Can you see it now, Nathan?
I can now, yeah. I can actually, yeah.
What?
I've got all the studio lights on and stuff, so it doesn't really help my projection screen when I've got all them on. But now the show's running, I've turned them all off and I can see it nice and clearly.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's almost like hypnotic watching the blades spin round. I love watching them, Mia. I know some people say they're a blight on the horizon, but to be honest, I like watching them. I could sit there and watch them all night, me. It's lovely, that, isn't it? It's so picturesque. It's unbelievable. In England as well.
Now, what you got to realise is those wind turbines are only 19 miles away. And
yeah, but only 19 miles away comes with a required amount of drop.
It does. And also, the angular size difference to the Isle of Man behind, which is 65 miles away, you're talking almost 4 times as far away to the Isle of Man as it is to those wind turbines. But the Isle of Man is showing almost, in some places, up to the hub of the wind turbines.
Yeah, so we've got the hub of the turbines over here.
Yep.
I mean, it's so pretty that as a that's what you should have, Nathan, as your desktop background. Cycles of that. It's just beautiful to look at, and to think that that's come from Blackpool.
I agree. I mean, it's just not long enough. That's probably why I probably wouldn't use it as a, like the sunsets I've got, just because I want them to run for 2 hours.
We could make it loop for 2 hours.
I could, but it'd probably get a bit. I mean, I don't know. I might do it.
I think you should. I think it's a fantastic look.
It is a fantastic video. I'm not going to lie. Big massive shout out to Coolpix P900. That's the name of the YouTube channel that's produced this video. Coolpix P900. I will put a link in the info box below this video once the video is rendered. So if you want to check out his or her channel, do you know if it's a he or a she?
The she, Sandra.
She,
and
Sandra.
I'm gobsmacked it took Sandra this long to get the imagery, because I knew she'd get it eventually, but I don't know why it took her this long. So we've been waiting for ages, Sandra. I know she's never been asked for it, but ultimately she's done it anyway, and it's fabulous.
You can actually see the lights at the bottom of the wind turbines coming on and off on the bottom, and they're to tell boats not to go near the actual bottom parts of them.
It's just unbelievable. I look at this and it's like so pretty. I can't believe it's England that we're looking at here.
I was going to ask you the second time you've said that. What makes you say that?
Because England isn't known for having fantastic views like that.
Yeah, it is.
Nah, the odd 1 or 2 places in, say, Tenby or wherever, maybe, but Blackpool's not associated with fantastic views.
I don't know if patriotic's the right word, but I'm a big Anglophile. I think we live in a fantastic country, actually.
Yeah, it's just spoiled by our government, though.
But forget that. But just geographically or topologically, or whatever the word is, the landscapes in England are amazing. In a really small, condensed area, you've got everything. You've got white sandy beaches at one end, and you've got high peaks and mountains and beautiful landscapes and lakes at the other. So you've got everything in England.
Can you just pause it there for a minute? Because it looks like there's a white line underneath the turbines and on the top of the water. I'm wondering what that is. Essentially, if you took that away and you looked where the top of the water was, it'd be flat out. You'd see everything.
There was a little bit there. If you notice in the background, there's a turbine fin that ballers would say that's fallen behind the curvature of the Earth. And it does look that way. It really does. There are times that I think to myself, "Oh, maybe that is curvature." And I'll be honest, I do sway one way and the other when I see certain things. However, I also realise that by this distance, whatever this distance is, I mean, I'm sure Ranty could work these turbines out. They'd be long gone because they're that far away. I just don't believe that we would be able to even see these turbines in the background.
I only watched it late last night, so I've not done any work on it, essentially, apart from just measuring to the turbines and to the Isle of Man, and that was it.
See, there's a couple of turbines, you're just seeing the fins just peeping through there. I mean, it's a lot of work to work out exactly the angle she's got there and which turbines you're looking at, but it's probably the furthest set of turbines away. I mean, how close to the water is she there?
From my estimation, I know where she is exactly. The tide looks about half out from there, so I'm going to say probably about 45 feet.
She's even got finishing credits. That was excellent anyway, so shout out to Sandra for that one.
Yes, good job. Well done.
Make sure you go and subscribe to her channel as well, because she's doing quite cool videos with regards to the sun and weird things happening with the sun.
I'm going to do exactly that as soon as the show's finished.
And the moon as well. She goes out and she videos the moon as well, and I think she puts up a video up almost every night whenever she can see it. So she's always got. I think she gets a lot of. She's got no trolls. Let's put it that way. She has a lot of following.
She will have now.
I was going to say we've just ruined that. I'm sorry, Sandra. If if it's our fault, you can blame us.
Well, with the you've caught something exceptional, so expect the trolls to come and knock in.
So, changing topic slightly, did anybody watch Globebusters on Sunday? I missed it because I was with Sly. Did we miss it? Because I noticed it was only on for like an hour and 30-something minutes.
I think Jaren lost connection. I think he was running it. Don't think Bob was on. So Jaren was running the show. He lost connection, and that was it. The show was done. He couldn't restart.
See anything interestingly new?
Not really. They were just getting into it, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Nath, do you want to talk about T-shirts, Nath, or is it a conversation for off air?
Probably a conversation for off air.
Okay. So, I was chatting with a couple of people that I didn't know were on Discord last night. And it was in a different room. I didn't know the room existed. And I was actually discussing and debating gravity with flat earthers. Now, there's not many flat earthers that actually argue in favor of gravity. Most flat earthers generally accept that what they tell us is called gravity does not actually exist. That's my view. I believe that what they're describing to us is fluctuations in the electromagnetic environment in which we live, otherwise described as things like the ether or whatever you want to call this thing that's around us. There are fluctuations in the atmosphere, and we can measure and observe them, and we can manipulate and play with it. But that's what I think is this thing called gravity. I don't think that it's an attractive force to the earth that we stand on. It's nonsense. If you get two bowling balls, suspend them from a ceiling, let them come to rest, they're not going to pull towards each other and pull and then resist and then pull towards each other and then resist and create their own sway, like Cavendish tells us that they do. It doesn't happen. The Foucault's pendulum doesn't do what they tell us it does. As far as I can see, it does what it wants. If you use a magnetic weight, it does do something, and there is some form of pattern, but it's not caused by the rotation of the Earth. It's caused by the electromagnetic environment in which it sits. It's most noticeable with magnetic weights. If you use non-magnetic weights like a clump of concrete or things of that nature, there doesn't seem to be any pattern. Sometimes you get it going one way, sometimes you get it going the other way. And obviously the Elias effect is something that people talk about. That's supposed to confirm the electromagnetic status of the world in which we live. I haven't seen any proof of the Elias effect in effect. However, I accept that it's probably true. Go on, out. But this was in a Discord chat with flat earthers last night, and there's not many flat earthers that subscribe to the gravity thing. So obviously, I was what's the word? I was contrasting with gravity rather than comparing with gravity, and that was a really odd, interesting conversation with flat earthers about gravity, because I didn't think there were any flat earthers that bought into gravity. Offline hangouts are so much fun.
What's the what's causing it though? I mean, you say gravity. I believe in down. I don't like gravity, but
Yeah, you do believe in down.
Yeah.
What's causing it? I tend to buy more into the idea that we live in the eye of a storm.
No. I mean, for the flat earthers that believe in gravity, what's their reasoning behind?
Oh, well, the one guy I was talking to was talking about the gravitational constant being observed in, it was either Foucault's pendulum experiment or Cavendish experiment, and that was where, in his view, it was established that it existed, the gravitational constant. And I was like, really? Are you really a flat earther, or are you new to this, or what? I wasn't quite sure where he fitted into it, but it was the result of one of them two experiments that he accepts gravity. And I was like, but there are other explanations for this, and you can manipulate the results by playing around with magnetic instruments in close proximity to the pendulum. That tells you that it's not gravity. But, you know, each to their own. The link's public, right?
Yeah, it's been public since the start. I just checked to see, because I thought, man, maybe it hasn't got, because sometimes I'll put it out and then start the show and it just vanishes. But in this instance, no, it is there. Just relatively troll-free so far.
Let's get a baller or two in and see what their views are on the shape of the Earth.
Does anybody know who this rock lover is?
It's probably Mark Taylor, in my opinion.
No, it's not. It's Vince.
Yeah.
His name's Vince.
Oh, is it?
Right. Yeah. Is he just called Rock Lover these days? He used to be called Muscle Car Rock Lover. He's got a very unhealthy obsession with Patricia Steere.
Right. Okay. Well, he keeps asking why the lights on the Blackpool Pier aren't showing up.
Yeah, let's address this, right? Because this is what Sly bugged me with in his hangout, right? Do you want to bring up that picture that we were talking about, Ranty?
Have you not got it?
I don't think you've sent it to me, and if you have sent it to me, and I wouldn't know where to even find it.
Hey, Thomas, can you hear us?
Right. Straight on to mute.
Help.
Well, the thing is, I've done a full hangout on this.
I know, but I want you to speak to Sly. I'll tell you what Sly said, and then you can respond to me, but as though I'm Sly.
The lights never go out on the piers because of safety.
Any evidence for that assertion?
Yeah, I'd like some evidence for that assertion.
Just while you're looking for it, Ranty, maybe if Anthony, if you can answer while Ranty's tied up, what are we talking about? So we're talking about Blackpool observation of the tower, the roller coaster, the mirror ball. I've seen this image, but what's the issue?
Right. The background to this? When I was in with Sly Sparkane the other night, he treated me good. We actually had a conversation where we didn't bitch about each other. There were no name calling. We actually got progression through the conversation, and we got to the crescendo of numerous points. And credit to Sly, he was really good. One of the things that he threw my way to discuss and debate was, where's Blackpool? And he did it with regards to my Hoylake observation, and I dealt with that. And he refuses to acknowledge where the curvature is meant to be. What he does is he ignores the curvature, and like Alex Cat Earth does, he asks for the beach, completely forgetting where about the curvature is meant to be. You know, the obstruction caused by curvature. Completely forgets that. So he brought up Ranty's photo. My gut reaction was, I know the answer to this, but it's not really my discussion to have. Really, it's Ranty's. So, and that's what I said. I said, Ranty's already addressed this in detail. I said, he's the guy you need to speak to about this one. But what he was saying was, where is the promenade lights? Ranty took a picture from the north side of Blackpool, looking south towards Blackpool, and he got the promenade lights. But some of them were restricted and weren't being able to be seen. I think, are you getting it on screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it on screen, yeah.
Oh, this is we're seeing this now, right?
Yeah.
Right. So Sly's point was, why do we see the prom lights on the left-hand side, but then we don't see them on the right? And the answer is because they're restricted by the pier lights, the piers. There are 3 piers that are basically closer to us and bigger than the lights in the background. And basically, we have to see through the pier to be able to see them. And he was like, okay, well, why are the piers not on? And then he showed me some photos where the piers were lit up in peak season time, and they were lit up like a Christmas tree. And I said, because they don't light all the time. I said, they're not on all the time. I said, it costs money. They just don't play them on all the time. Now, I didn't know that they turn them off at night times. But this is what we're seeing now on screen. What you can see now is the bit that Sly was asking, well, where's all the prom lights here? So, Ranty, if you want to go through the reasons why these lights are obscured.
Okay, might take a couple of minutes.
And I'll watch the back door.
Sure, yeah. So, again, you know, I feel like this is like the 5th time that I've had to do this. And I think they just do it so that we have to go over stuff that's already been addressed. So essentially, that's where I was filming from. I'm just going to put this line in. And what we have here is North Pier, Central Pier, and South Pier. Right? So, why don't we have any lights? Here we go. I'll show you now. So if I put my line of sight in, just grazing that pier, what you'll see is that we only have a very small window before we get to the pleasure beach, which is here. Line of sight is blocked by the Central Pier and North Pier properties. So if I was trying to look at this roadside here, the pier would be in the way. If I was trying to look at this roadside here, the pier would be in the way. The only place on the image I'll show you now where we get a little bit of the lights is in front of Blackpool Tower, which is here. And that's simply because this area of roadside is higher than the rest of the roadside further along. In actual fact, you can actually see the outline here. Not very clear, but you can actually see the outline of where the big wheel would be, the Ferris wheel. Anyway, I'll show you how we was able to capture that outside the tower. So the illuminations are lit up here. If you look in the bottom left, you'll see that it's 33, 34, 35 feet in elevation. Yeah, it goes up to 41 feet here, 38 feet there. But when we come further along, down here, it's down to 28 feet elevation. 28, 29, 27, 29, 29. So this outside the tower has a 10 feet advantage over the rest of the terrain here. And these piers simply just block my line of sight to it. That's all it is. You can't see them because the piers, which are quite substantial, block the lights. And that's it. I mean, I go into much greater detail in the hangout that I did. It's on my channel.
The key point is that the lights, you took the photos at gone midnight.
It was gone midnight, yeah. What it was the first day that the illuminations had been switched on for the season. So they were on till 2 a.m. So I decided to drive over to Barrow. And after midnight, I started taking images. I think this image was done at pretty much dead on midnight, actually. And I carried on taking images right up until about 20 past 12. And I assumed that was it. I had enough. The piers aren't always on all the time, because if you know Blackpool, you'll know that it's full of hen nights and stag nights. It used to be a family place where you bring your kids and stuff. But essentially now it's just for stag nights and hen do's. So can you imagine, if you look along Blackpool Promenade, how many bars are open, how many nightclubs? You really want to leave the piers open for people to jump off and fall in the sea? Also, you've got to take into consideration the weather conditions. They don't open when it's windy. They don't open when it's high tide. Well, so they do open when it's high tide, but they won't open at night, certainly. And they won't have that risk. They won't run the risk of having the piers open. So, yeah, after midnight, piers is closed down. You can actually see where the Ferris wheel is there. I think I've got this image on my Google Drive, actually, so you can go and check that out. And And yeah, that's the only reason the piers weren't lit up. They do have like arcades on the front of each pier, so you can go in and you can put your money in to play on the arcades. But essentially, the lights are only facing forward then, so they're actually facing. Where are we? So if you were here, you'd walk in the door here, and you don't see any lights to the side. You don't see the lights at the back. You know, the front doors are open. You've got some windows in. But again, my line of sight wouldn't have allowed me to see that, even if these were open. All the rides and everything that are on here and the stalls, what it is, they have little stalls in here so you can play tombola and throw things to try and, get a teddy bear or something. You've got a family bar at the back here, right? It's a family bar. It would have been closed down at 11 o'clock.
You sure
right?
it's
I was
family
taking
bar?
these images after midnight. Sorry?
You sure it's family bar?
Yeah, this is a family bar.
I'm just joking. It says family bar on it.
So yeah, it's a family bar. It's open up. Obviously,
it calls it 10, not 11.
It's around 10, 11. You know, it's not a nightclub. Let's put it that way. So it wouldn't have been open after midnight. So all this would have been closed down. All these arcades would have been closed down after midnight. They're not going to leave the doors open for all the drunkards to come in there and start causing a riot. And that's it. You know, I mean, it is just what it is. It's like a fairground, basically. It's not open 24 hours a day. You know, they don't have these rides, or, you know, if you got to go on the big wheel, they're not going to have the big wheel on at 3 a.m. where you get all drunk people going on and trying to jump out of the carriages. Are you insane?
So then the answer to the question, did they turn off the lights just for Branty? What's the answer to that? Because that was one of the things that they were all in text giggling at, saying, "Oh, right, so they just turned the lights off for Ranty then. Conspiracy." I was like, well, if the lights are off, they're off.
I don't think I need to address that, because what I really want them to address is, there's the mirror ball, boys and girls. There is the mirror ball. And at this time...
address that.
Yeah.
The reason why he won't address that is because he won't acknowledge that the lack of curvature on the tower from Hoy Lake isn't in the right place. He wants to know where Blackpool is. Who cares where Blackpool is? Where's the curvature before we get to Blackpool?
There's the tower ball, boys. To the base, I believe it was 20 feet or so. To the top, it's 40 feet. So there's a big 20-foot ball there of light. You want to be explaining this, not asking where the piers are.
So come on then, Slice Barkane. Just for the sake of, I know we won't do this, but just show him where you were stood.
Roughly, I've got it detailed on my my hangout, but I would say roughly in this location, sort of here.
So there you go, Sly. Why can we see the mirror ball beyond the roller coaster, which is at street level? Why can we see the mirror ball if the Earth's got curvature to it?
And the good old mirror ball.
Light artifact in the photograph. You have the photograph. Look forward to your debunking.
Here's the mirror ball.
Gobshite.
So what they have is they have two projectors that shine very bright lights onto this. It's all lots of lights, and then the lights are reflected off and they go in all directions. So it's a very prominent visual aid on the promenade. Of course, it would be lit up because it was the first day of the illumination, staying open until 2 a.m. It's not a ride; you can't jump on it, but it's a nice attraction to look at.
It's the only piece of curvature you'll find
on that mirror ball.
So the fact of the piers, you know.
Is this the photo where you can see where the Ferris wheel is, even though it's not switched on?
Yeah, I mean, you can actually make it out. I mean, I think I go into.
It did show us earlier, and I had it up on the iPad, and I could just make out a very faint blur.
Yeah, it is different to the remaining area around it, and it's absolutely smack bang where you'd expect the Ferris wheel to be. So, you know, it's sitting there on the horizon. So you imagine that's the pier, but it's all switched off. It's just not lit up. They're not going to have the Ferris wheel on for people to come after midnight jumping on it. It's just a simple safety issue.
Just for clarity, you're saying that the illuminations will stay until 2 a.m., but they still turn the lights off on the rides?
Well, yeah, they just wouldn't have the piers open.
No,
you know,
I don't
after
think
a certain time.
Say that again, Anthony.
I thought the illuminations went off at midnight.
They do, but this was the first day of the season. They have the illuminations open till 2 a.m. So an additional 2 hours.
Right.
So a lot of people can come down and travel down the promenade and look at the illuminations. Right. So it's a family thing. It's to bring the kids along, or to just come down and enjoy the atmosphere. But they don't have the piers on after a certain time, simply for health and safety reasons more than anything.
Yeah, that was another thing that somebody bandied around. It's 24 hours accessible, Jaron Devasta or whatever your name is. Yeah, it is accessible 24 hours because it's right on the roadside. You can walk off the road onto it. It is accessible. That doesn't mean you can get into it, though.
If you look here also as well, we see part of the illuminations. So when we go back onto the line of sight, I think I explained this before, the line of sight, get there. Right, so here we go. Hang on.
Wasn't it the gap in between the second and the third pier?
Yeah, it's basically the gap between North Pier, which is here. So there's a gap there. I'm just bypassing North Pier now. Line of sight. So we've got this little bit of roadside here that we can see right up to this part here where the next pier comes along and blocks all the rest of the illuminations off. So we've got a very small window of light, of illuminations that we can see here. And right behind it is the big wheel. Sorry, the big wheel. The big one, the roller coaster, because it is the Pleasure Beach. So if you imagine we're looking at it this way, I spin it around. What we have is this is the line of sight, and then we have the big one to the right, which is here, and then we have the towers. So we've got the Ice Blast, and we've got the White Tower, which is here too. And it's all evidence, and that will be to the right of these illuminations. So there's the illuminations. That was the crane that you took an image of. Thank you very much, Anthony, and P900 Sandra. She did it too. There's the Ice Blast. There's the White Tower. There's the backside of the big one. There's the top of the big one coming down. It goes up, goes down, and around. So yeah. So
I actually think
down in makes no odds.
I actually think that Sly knows all this.
Yeah, of course he does.
Trolling me.
Yeah. Troll this.
Yeah, troll that, Sly. That's what we need to address.
Troll that. Yeah, I hope I addressed that.
Yeah, very well done. Thank you, Ranty. Marboliso splendido.
Like the 10th time I seem to have done it. It's like you say something I think they just do it to sort of like bog you down in stuff, rather than moving on to new stuff that we've come up with. Like some of the sunset images, for instance, that I took at St. Bees, you don't see the reflection on the water. And why is that? Is that because it's a fake sun and it's not actually the sun that we're looking at? It's like a blocking. It's like the sunlight has been blocked and we're just seeing different light that isn't really the sun, because you would see, like on your image here, you can see the reflection on the water, can't you?
We went through this. I thought you were part of that conversation. Was it just me, Anthony, and Chris Monk that were discussing this?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I was party to that.
I'll give you the general gist. So if you imagine a light bulb and it's hung up and you draw a line around the midpoint from top to bottom, so you've got a circle around it. Yep. A horizontal circle around. Oh, hold on a second. I'll show you what's going on. It's like, it's not funny. Kids force feeding paper into my mouth. Anyway, so you've got a light bulb and it's got a line drawn around the horizontal midpoint. And imagine light beams coming off that bulb. Anything above that line is going to be going up. The light rays are going literally up. And anything below that midpoint is going down. The light rays are going down. Or when the sun reaches the midpoint on the horizon, or the vanishing point, then it's going to have that exact effect as it gets breached by that mirage line. So when it reaches the point that it's exactly half, you no longer have light rays going down towards the sea. So you don't have any light to reflect back to your feet along the line of the water, as you put it. So exactly like this image you've got here. You're below the midpoint of the sun. In fact, I don't think you've got the sun at all. I think you've got one hundredth of the sun in this image, and what you're seeing is all of the different refractive layers, making it seem like you've got the same size, in quotes, sun, but you haven't. It's nearly all gone in this photo.
Well, I agree, and also I wanted to address this with some of the ballers actually. If the sun was setting and it was going down, why is this area and this area all dark? And why is this area nice and light? And this is a sunspot on the clouds.
I'd like to address something else as well. I mean, you're absolutely right. Maybe that'll be answered in what I say next, which is that if you look at the long distance photography of the mountains, those mountains are obviously very tall. They're high. They have a high elevation. And yet, at distance, they're right on the horizon. Yeah? Now, you wouldn't ever argue that they've shrunk physically in size. They're still just as high as they ever were. But as you get further away from them, they get closer to the horizon. Right? So the sun is no different. As it gets further away, it gets closer to the horizon. It doesn't mean it's any lower in elevation. It just appears to get closer to the horizon because it's getting further away. What it proves is that we have a local sun. And its light has limitations. It can only travel so far. Simple.
Bye-bye stars being in light years away in terms of distance and the amount of light that we're supposed to see. Bye-bye. Yeah. That doesn't work.
Yeah, it gets, I don't know, 1,000 miles away and you don't get its light anymore. It just can't travel that far.
Well, what I would ask, like the ballers, to surely if we're looking at a setting sun, you see this area here, this localized heat spot, it would be all across the top, wouldn't it? If we lived on a ball, right? Because the light is apparently coming at us basically straight on, horizontal to the Earth. So it hits the Earth in a horizontal area. All this sky would be lit up across the top.
Oh, well,
here.
when this problem occurs, Ranty, that bullshit we have levelled at our door when we're talking about the stars in terms of atmospheric refraction that's going to occur on those stars. They have this sun completely disappearing. This isn't really the sun in the heliocentric model. This is a mirage of the sun behind the curve of the Earth. It's already long gone, and you're just seeing a mirage of it. And the truth, hello, 6, you're just a troll.
Yo, what's up?
Oh, hello. You've never spoken before. Normally you just try and snipe everyone.
I'm a flat earther.
Yeah, right. I don't
I've been a
believe
flat
that
earther
for a
for like
second.
3 years or something.
Okay, what can we do you for?
I get the feeling he's going to snipe us all out in the guise of being a flat earther.
I do.
What's a sniper? I'm a shooter, not a sniper.
So what can we do for you, 6?
Well, we're just waiting. Go on, do it.
What do you think about the Vegas shooting?
About the what, sorry?
What?
The Vegas shooting.
The Vegas shooting. I don't think that has anything to do with flat Earth, really.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's going to get your channel shut down.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy.
It's a flat Earth debate, not a fake news debate.
I had an interview with one of the individuals from San Diego. He was a flat earther, and he's supposed to be dead, but he's still alive. And he's a flat earther.
We'll bring you into the debate.
What's his name?
Do you want to know his name?
That's why I just asked you what his name was.
His name's Jimmy.
Jimmy? That's a very generic name. Just Jimmy?
Yeah, I can get him on the show. I can get him on the show one day if you like.
Jimmy what? What's his surname?
Jimmy Smith.
Wow. Jimmy Smith.
Google it.
I'm alright, thanks.
So let's talk about the shape of the Earth then. You're a flat earther, yeah?
Okay. Yeah, I'm a flat earther. I've been a flat earther for like 3 years, man. Gee.
Okay, what do you see in this image then? What is it that you see here? This is after the sun's gone, so what would you think we're seeing here?
It looked like a bunch of red shit.
I'll agree.
Okay, but why is this area dark at the bottom here? If the sun's gone down there, why is that dark? And why is it dark at the top? And it's only lit up in the middle?
What do you mean?
We're just trying to figure out. We don't know what the
honest,
sun's
this is like
effects
level
are,
8
so we're
stuff.
just discussing them to try and, you know, in our own way, figure out what we think might be going on. So we just want your opinion, basically. What do you think's going on? There's no right or wrong, right
Looks
or
like
wrong
this
answers
tunnel
here.
going down or something.
Come on, you
To be
monster.
fair, this is like kind of like level 7, level 8 stuff. It's not fair to like throw this on a new guy. Let's change topic and give it an easier topic.
Okay.
Okay, what do you think about Sandy Hook?
Forget Sandy Hook. We're not interested in Sandy Hook.
Not flat Earth
What do you
related.
think about the Vegas shoot? What do you think about the Vegas shoot?
Is there
We've
any
already
issues
asked.
that you?
Number one, we're not in
Do you agree with
America.
the Vegas shoot?
Number one, we don't get
I
that
think
news here.
I think
We're
the
all
Illuminati
British.
done it.
We're all British on this panel, so we don't get that news.
The Illuminati
You know.
taking the flat Earth.
Yeah. So it's A, not interesting from a geographical perspective because it's not this country. We're all British, all of us. So we you know, it's not as relevant to us. And secondly, it's a flat Earth show.
Yeah, but I was on Randy's channel one day. He had videos about it, so I want to talk about it to him.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, it's
what's
not
his
his channel. This is my channel, and the title of this show is Flat Earth Debate.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know the rules. There's some sort of poxy ass rules and shit or some shit.
Say that again.
Is there some sort of rules?
Yeah, mine.
Yeah.
No, I
Okay.
lost when I start talking about this sort of stuff. Essentially, you get your channel shut down, so I won't do it on Nathan's channel, and I don't think I'll talk about it on
What
my
do you
own
mean
either.
talk
So.
about flat Earth? Is that illegal?
Flat Earth is fine, yeah, but I won't be talking about Sandy Hook or Las Vegas. I'll let other people do that with bigger channels because they seem to get their strikes overturned.
So you think everybody in San Diego's still alive? Yeah.
I'm not talking about
No
Sandy Hook.
idea. As I just said, that's not relevant to UK news because it's not happening here, and we're all British. So
And we don't care about Sandy Hook. It's a flat Earth channel. We're worried about the shape of the Earth. You understand that, right?
So what? Yeah, I understand. Calm down, man.
Okay.
So is there any issues with the flat Earth that you think that you have a problem with, or are you absolutely 100% a flat Earth? You have no doubts about anything. You could answer anything about flat Earth.
I think the Earth is flat because water's flat and it looks flat.
Fair enough. Don't disagree with that.
No.
So what part of the world are you in then? Obviously you're in the USA.
Yeah.
The East Coast? West Coast?
Just a little north of Cincinnati.
Cincinnati? Because, yeah, you don't have an accent that indicates where you might be from.
So where are you from?
Liverpool, Manchester way, northwest England.
I'm right in the middle, Warwickshire.
So what's your best flat Earth proof?
There is no evidence to support curvature. Axial rotation, gravity.
Axiom rotation, what does that mean?
Axial, as in it is
Axial?
spinning.
What is spinning?
The Earth is supposed to be spinning, right?
Yeah.
There is no evidence that it is. The only evidence out there is there are other explanations to explain what's going on that are logically and reasonably equally, at least, an alternative explanation for what we're seeing.
Man, I just dropped a few hits and shit. You should look me up. Look up my new track, man.
So is that your channel name? Number 6IX. Have you got videos on it?
Nah, just type my name into YouTube.
Yeah, but what for? If you've not got videos.
I got videos.
Oh, you do have videos. What subject do you cover?
Music.
Kind of music. I like music. Everyone likes music.
I like music too.
Yeah, what kind of music?
Best one. Best guy. Now I'm being black. You can't come in my city, black.
Cool, I'll check you out.
Yeah, I don't see his channel anywhere.
Type in my name, fool. Type my name in, fool. Fuck.
What's your name?
6ix9ine, motherfucker. What the fuck? You see
Try
this
not
shit?
to swear. Try not to swear. 6ix9ine.
I just know that Nathan and Ranty are sat with the finger hovering over that relevant button.
How do you know that?
Any second now, it's going to go, pop goes the weasel.
I've been a flat earther for like 3 years, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, you're not sounding
not
like
to
a flat
swear,
earther,
try not
man.
to
You
swear.
sounded like a trouble causer, I'll be honest.
A what?
You sounded like a trouble causer.
A trouble causer?
Yeah. You seem aggressive and quite ready for exploding any second.
Yeah.
Anyway. So do you watch Globebusters on Sundays?
I've never heard of Ghostbusters, man. I just watch.
So you've never heard of Globebusters, but you've got on with Nathan's channel. Okay.
You've never heard of Globebusters, but you've been a flat earther for 3 years, right?
Yeah, I watch Patricia's Theater. I love the Smiths.
Cool.
Okay. So have you got a P900, a Nikon P900 camera?
Nah, man, I got a P900.
What
Got
did
a
you
Mac
think
10
of,
though.
what did you think of the most recent flat Earth rocket launch?
The heavy lift one.
Oh, do you mean Mad Mike?
Are you on about Mad Mike?
Yeah, Mad Mike. He made the papers here in the UK, so the Eye, which is like the condensed version of the Independent, covered his launch, which, you know, you got it off the ground. Wonderful, with the words flat Earth on the side of it. Excellent.
Right, Nate, you'll have to tell us because I didn't know we'd actually done it.
Yeah, neither did I.
Did you not see the video?
Oh, right.
You're calling yourself a flat earther, motherfucker. You seen the motherfucking video? What the fuck, man? Shit.
Yeah, I think there's enough.
That's enough.
Who was the click button?
Yeah, I was just about to mute him. Yeah,
Talk about the most awkward.
You know, you'll get away with a lot.
In the world.
Just don't swear.
Yeah. Right. So tell me about Mad Mike. I didn't know he'd actually done it.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get up as high as he had hoped, but he got it off the ground, and I think that's all that matters. You know, he got a launch, and there was the press there. Right? You know, he wants to do it again. He wants to try again and get higher. But ultimately speaking, he got his steam-powered rocket off the ground. The press were there, and he didn't die. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a success.
Yeah, that's absolutely a success. He's got a rocket off the ground with the words "Flat Earth" on it, and it's in the papers. That was from our perspective. From Mad Mike's perspective, obviously he has certain goals that he's hoping to achieve, certain heights that he's trying to get to. For us, the Flat Earthers, and for everyone out there who sponsored that rocket, good on you. It was all worth it in the end because the press were there. It's gone across the seas to us here, and we're reading about Mad Mike in the mainstream press and his rocket with Flat Earth written on the side of it. Fantastic job. You know, everybody who's got involved with that project should pat themselves on the back because that's what was lacking. It was lacking it getting off the ground and having press taking a picture of it. And now that's happened. Fantastic.
So essentially, it was like an Acme video then. You know, like when it's the Roadrunner and he gets in a rocket.
Yeah, but so long as there's an objective. So if he's trying to get the steam-powered rocket record, then people will pay attention. You know, oh great, he's trying to get the record. Therefore, they'll turn up with their cameras. And what are they taking pictures of? A rocket with Flat Earth written on the side of it. Fantastic.
So when the rocket went up, how did it come back down via parachute?
Yeah, it just didn't get as high as he had hoped it would get, basically.
Yeah, I've missed that, to be fair. I mean, I spent probably 2 months waiting for him to do this rocket launch. And I was checking in every day. And every day when they said he was going to do a launch, it was cancelled. So I just thought,
yeah,
I'm going to happen. I gave up looking for him.
Yeah, I'm the same. I lost interest in the end because it was like his failed attempt, 6th, wasn't it? On 7th attempt, and the government were interfering, and this, that, and the other were all going wrong for him. For whatever reason, it fell off the mast and it got damaged during the transportation of. And basically, if it could have gone wrong, it did go wrong for the poor guy. So I kind of lost interest in the end.
Well, I've just sent you a picture on Skype, so if you can bring it up and present it, it's just literally a photograph of the newspaper that it was in yesterday. So I don't know if you can bring up that picture, and we'll pop it up on screen. You won't be able to read the text, but you can get a vague idea of what was in the eye.
I can read the text. So, share screen. And then flick. Hang on, where is it? There. Make this bigger. Ranty, just watch the back door, dude.
Yeah, we've always got it open.
There it is. Rocket with
not,
flat Earth written on it. Awesome.
Not Kim Jong-un, but Mad Max Hughes, a 61-year-old daredevil inventor from California, who this week launched himself 570 meters into the air in a steam-powered rocket that he built in his garage. Mr. Hughes, a limo driver by profession, reached speeds of 350 miles an hour before activating 2 parachutes and falling to the earth with a bump in the Mojave Desert. So, I think most people. What's this picture of this? What's the picture here, Nath?
I don't know. I got sent. I don't read the papers. I got sent it by my dad, so I've not seen this in the flesh. I can see what you can see.
Oh, well, at least he's taking a scientific approach. Alas, the rocket got nowhere near the height of commercial flights, so no. Parachuting to Earth and landing with a thud in the desert, Mr. Hughes surprisingly emerged unscathed. I'm tired of people saying I chickened out and didn't build a rocket. He said after being checked out by paramedics, I'm tired of the stuff. I manned up and did it. Acknowledging that this thing will kill you in a heartbeat, Hughes added, I'm glad I did. Am I glad I did it? Yeah. I guess I'll feel it in the morning. I won't be able to get out of bed. At least I can go home and have dinner and see my cats tonight. So, are we any closer to learning if the world is frisbee-shaped? Well, we could well be. Saturday's death-defying launch, Hughes dismissed as a wild stunt. A mere awareness-raising campaign for the next big one. Next time, Hughes plans to build a raccoon, a rocket that is carried into the atmosphere by a gas-filled balloon and then separated from the balloon and lit. This rocket will take Hughes up about 68 miles up. Watch this space, as they say. Well, that's not going to work because
that's not going to work. I mean, he's not Elon Musk.
Hold on. Don't be uber critical. He's marketing his next project, and this project, as far as I'm concerned, was a 100% success.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think the fact that he's still alive makes it the success because a lot of people were saying
absolutely that was definitely number one on the list. Yeah. Don't die if you're claiming the Earth is flat. And you're called Mad Mike. It would have
made more headlines, though. To be fair.
You don't want to be called Mad Mike and die in a flat Earth rocket. That's bad news for us.
No, just whatever you do, make sure you survive.
Yeah, just don't die.
I didn't know we'd done it, actually. I'm like Ranty. I'd lost interest in it in the end because ultimately it went on for that long that, it's too much. Get it done, or, but he's done it now, so at least we can mark it off as well. At least we've done some science. Real rocket.
I just can't imagine, though, a balloon being, A, big enough to carry the weight of a rocket up with him inside and whoever else is going with it. And 2, for it, obviously, if it's going to be a gas-powered balloon, what would happen if his rocket goes off? It'd blow up.
Yeah, but the other thing is there's no atmosphere up there once you get beyond a certain point, or there's very thin atmosphere.
Yeah,
that's a problem for trying to ignite a rocket because you've got to you've got to take up the oxygenizing agent up there with you, but that's all weight. Realistically speaking, it's going to be difficult for them to do what he wants to do. I mean, best of luck and all that, but I don't think that'll work. I don't think the rocket will get the thrust to be able to thrust off the atmosphere to get it up to the height that he wants it. The reason why that 73-mile rocket got as high as what it actually did was because it got the speed from the ground to catapult it up there, and it was a continuing speed. If you're starting from virtually nothing, you ain't going to get much.
It's steam powered, yeah, so it wouldn't need it igniting. To be fair, if it is steam powered,
steam mounted one. It didn't say it was steam. Let me see what it actually says.
But could you imagine that though? He'd have to have it pressurized to the correct amount, so it's already pre-pressurized. Then he's going to put it on the balloon, carry it up a mile and a half high, and then release it.
Yeah, he doesn't say it's a steam-powered rocket he's going to take. He says it's a rocket. That indicates or implies that it's going to be a traditional one in its jet state.
I certainly know the first one he tested. So when you guys were all interested in it, he had the bright red one with yellow and white research flat Earth along the side of it. That rocket was definitely steam powered because I saw it being tested. But the rocket that was in that article looked very different to the one that I saw. So I don't know
a lot
if that
smaller,
was,
isn't it?
yeah, definitely smaller. But I'm not sure if that one was also steam powered, the one that he's just sent up that you got half a kilometre with. I don't know.
Let's see if it says in the article. I'm sure it would have been, because that was the point of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought this initial run that was sponsored by Flat Earth, in essence, that one was a steam-powered rocket. So I don't see any reason why the next one wouldn't. I just don't want to say, yeah, of course it was a steam-powered rocket, because I can see that it's a different rocket. So I don't know. I haven't seen it being tested, but certainly the red one I saw tested, and that was steam-powered. And, you know, he was presumably going for a steam-powered record. I thought that was the point with this particular run. But like I say, it's a different rocket. A different rocket. It might be a different set of parameters and a different set of achievements he's trying to fulfill.
Well, it says in the article, he launched himself 570 meters into the air in a steam-powered rocket that he built in his garage. So I'm guessing it was steam.
Yeah, there you go, steam-powered. So it was steam-powered. I mean, you say steam-powered and people think, you know, a little bit of steam coming out of a kettle. Man, go look at it being tested. It ain't like that. It sounds fairly benign. It ain't. It really isn't.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send the Rumpus the link to see if we can get him to come in and stutter for a few minutes. Because I'll be honest, when he starts stuttering, it turns me on.
Somebody asked me that.
Yeah.
Issa, cheeky sod.
Yeah, did he? What did he say?
I get various people that, you know, asking similar questions, and it's like, no, this isn't some, you know, I'm not being a sadist when I get annoyed with people. There's a big difference. I do think that some of the people who come in like being shouted at. You know, they keep us doubling down and reasserting the same nonsense. It's like, maybe they enjoy being shouted at. Maybe they are masochists.
Yeah, maybe they, you know, remember things back at school when they were kids and used to get shouted at by the teacher, and perhaps it turns them on to have you shout at them. So it must be that way because they keep coming back.
Yeah, I think it's I'm getting force-fed a lot of stuff today.
I think this should be an off-air chat. But I saw a comment somewhere. I can't remember where it was though. But somebody said that the Flat Earth British UK convention wouldn't be going ahead or something through lack of ticket sales. Is that correct?
It just sounds like nonsense.
That doesn't sound like the right YouTube.
How you doing, Ute?
Did someone remove him? I didn't.
I removed him.
Yeah, because it won't be the real Ute.
No.
I've heard you speak recently. Sorry, it's hard to talk when you've got a sippy cup being jammed into your eyeball. Yeah, so somebody sent me a link to a random video, and I tend to click on all the links that people post to see if they, you know, if they need deleting. But one of them was alleged to be YouTube speaking. You know, talking about an encounter with the police, I think. But it was interesting because I've never heard him speak before. I don't know if either of you have ever heard YouTube speak, but I certainly think I've heard YouTube speak now.
I don't know.
Really good listen. I listened to the whole thing. I was, you know, captivated by what he was talking about. Can't remember what he was talking about.
Sandra's MP900 Cool Pics. I would recommend joining her channel, especially after the Isle of Man video she did yesterday. Fantastic. It's been played on here. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, thank you very much. We've played your video today. We didn't actually ask permission, but it was fantastic. Yeah, kudos to you. Let's have a little look at Cool Pics channel. This is Cool Pics. Let's subscribe to you straight away. So do the same. If you're in the channel, go to these little dots, click on those, and go to channel, and that's how you get there.
I heard Captain Bullshit's voice recently.
Oh, right, okay.
He was
I've said it all along, these are real people.
Yeah, he was a brummie. He had his mic open accidentally, and someone told him in Discord, "Hey, you've got your mic open," and then he shut it off.
What did he say?
Like Spurs chemo.
What was he saying?
Captain Bullshit.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What was his name?
What was he saying?
Oh, what was he saying? He was having a conversation to his missus in the background, asking someone.
Right. Nothing.
It was just like an off. He wasn't speaking into the mic. He was speaking in the background to his missus. So it was a bit mumbo jumbo, but it was him speaking, and I think he realised and shut off his mic.
Yeah.
But he's a Brummie.
Shout out to Sleeping Wombat.
No need for that. Nothing wrong with Brummies.
Shout out to Sleeping Wombat. Hello.
A couple of dodgy football teams.
Aye. None of that. Birmingham is excellent.
Oh yeah, you didn't answer that question, Nathan. Actually, the one about the UK convention. Is there any rumours about that being cancelled or anything?
No.
Or is it just...
I don't think so.
People always start these stupid rumours.
Yeah, it'll go ahead. There's too many people involved in it. There's loads of people involved in it.
Let's have a little look at it. I'm gonna see if I can find. Let's just bring it up. Chat amongst yourself for a moment.
Okay.
Lenny Harry says, "Why would I sub to a channel of someone that hasn't got decent tripod, ball head, or camera levels and takes crappy images? No thanks for having a laugh." Well,
are you kidding me, Sandra?
I'd like to know what
Fantastic.
people you do subscribe to that satisfy that criteria, because I'm pretty sure most of the ball earthers don't even have cameras, tripods, or ball heads.
Well, hang on, just a minute. Could I just also say that I don't ever see any dislikes on Sandra's videos, and I did point out that once we mentioned her channel on here, we would get the trolls, and straight away we have somebody that has never watched any of the videos clearly, because they would understand that her quality of work is exceptional.
Shh, Ranty, she says.
So I've got it up now. So this is the homepage for the Flat Earth Convention, and it is www.flatearthconventionuk.co.uk. So go to this site. If you've not got yourself a ticket already, go and get yourself a ticket if you live in the UK. Captain Bullshit, you should be there, my friend. Buy yourself a ticket. Yeah, it's absolutely going ahead. There's lots of information to check out on the site. A few videos to look at. All sorts of different stuff.
I remember the same being said about the Flat Earth conference in the States. Everyone was saying, "Oh, it might not be happening. Somebody's pulled out." Who was it? OD? Was it ODD or someone like that?
Something like that.
Somebody's pulled out. It's not going to happen, and it happened. It was a massive success.
Exactly.
Do you think this will attract the same attention in the newspapers as it did in America?
I don't know, but it's a good judge to see how awake the UK is. Because if it doesn't work out the way that the American one did, then it means that the Americans are actually more awake than what we are, which is not generally the position that they're credited with. Normally, it's like the Americans are not awake. We're the ones that are supposed to be leading, but perhaps we're not as awake as what we think. Or maybe the ticket prices are too high or whatever, I don't know.
No, the ticket prices are very reasonable from what I've established. You know, they don't seem too expensive. My wife was, umming and ahhing, and then she heard it was about 25 quid or something for the Friday, and she was like, "Yeah, I might pop along." But yeah, it's not expensive. There's no huge amount of money passing over here. You know, if you go to a concert, you get a couple of hours, and it costs you 80 quid. So. Yeah, this is at Jury's Inn, which is Broad Street, Birmingham, right in the centre of Birmingham. So Jury's Inn, 27th, 28th and 29th of April, so a month from
Jury's
now.
Inn in Birmingham.
Yeah, it's nice. Actually, it's an excellent place to go. You know, there's a lot of nightlife there. There's lots of things to do. It's not a quiet part of Birmingham. It's a cool part of Birmingham. Very cool part of Birmingham, actually. Yeah, Broad Street, Birmingham. Yeah, so Jury's Inn, 1 month from now. Or 31 days, 23 hours, 47 minutes and 50 seconds. 49, 48, 47.
That's like that countdown to the Concave Earth documentary being released, isn't it? I think that's in a few days, actually.
Is that so? Cool stuff.
I believe so.
Yeah, one last plug. Go and buy yourself a ticket to the Flat Earth Convention if you haven't done so already. www.flatearthconventionuk.co.uk. Yeah, they'll sell out. They'll sell all the tickets. It's not like they've got a huge number of tickets. You know, it's not a massive venue. It's a fairly,
Conspiracy guy, do you want to speak?
Hey, yo, fuck your convention, blood. Fuck your convention, blood. You can't be before blood.
You want convincing of what?
Yeah. I don't see the what's the point in joining just to be like expletive? What's the point? You're just going to last like 5 seconds if you're lucky.
Fair enough.
One day, 22 hours to that documentary being released.
It's tomorrow. Or day, yeah, tomorrow.
Day after, yeah.
I
Day
want to
after
know
tomorrow.
what they mean when they say convexed. You know, like, sorry, concave.
Well, what they're essentially saying is that the land surface is slightly concave, but the water's flat. So this is what I've gathered so far from what they've put out.
It's like a bowl, but with flat water on it.
Yeah. And but we'll see what they come up with. Apparently, they've been doing experiments for 10 years, and so we'll see.
Yeah, it stinks of controlled opposition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, even if it was controlled opposition, I mean, I'm most interested to know what they mean by concave, because if they're going to argue that the sides of the Earth, which we call as the ice wall, is the concave element of the concave, that kind of makes sense, but really it's flat. So are they distorting the word flat for concave, or is there actually an element of concavity to it?
No, I think, like Ranty says, if you take into account the ocean beds, which are going to be going obviously lower than the flat water that we're presented with, and the land itself is in I can't say that word, topographical terms. I think that's right. Topographical is higher. Therefore, what you're left with, if you conceptualize that, is a bowl, right?
Shout out to Shroomy in chat. Not seen Shroomy for ages. Where have you been?
All right,
You're
okay.
using so many socks that we've forgotten about you, Shroomy.
They hibernate in Scotland.
Essentially, Ryan's correcting me on this here. Apparently, he says the land is convex and the water is flat. They do not use the word concave. So, okay, my mistake.
Convex.
Convex.
Oh, okay.
Hang on, is it concave? What is the model? Are they coming out with concave or convex?
Convex from what's just been said in the chat.
Oh, I thought it was concave.
Well, I can't speak whatever language it is, but it says convexa. Siga terra, so that's obviously the land or whatever. Convexa.
It could be anything. That could mean anything.
Yeah, I don't speak the language, so I'm purely guessing there. So
I think that's pretty likely. You've got a 90% chance they're saying it's convex.
It's apparently the word in the chat was it was Shroomy that just joined.
Okay. Hey, Shroomy. Quiet show today, eh? The only trolls that have joined, I mean, that 6 character has joined and sniped people before. You know, whatever. I don't care, because he talked this time, you know. Thanks for joining and thanks for talking. That's all I'm interested in. And he had a little conversation with us, which is nice. Much better than joining and sniping. I'd much rather just chat to them, even if it's about, you know, nonsense. Small talk in this instance, but that's fine. Thank you for joining and not sniping, 6. I do appreciate it. Really nice to chat to you. Same with Shroomy, if that was Shroomy.
it sounded like he'd just had a shot of heroin or something.
I think he was trying to imply that he was on drugs of some kind. I don't know why.
He wasn't very awake for a flat earther, that is.
Well, God only knows what time it is in the States. Yeah, it's got to be pretty, 4 or 5 a.m. probably. Did he say he was on the East Coast?
6 out of mile. So I had a conversation and where did I hear it? I can't remember whose chat it was in. And basically they were moaning about Nathan, saying how Nathan doesn't he's too harsh with the ballers, and that if he wants the ballers to come back in, he needs to be more polite. And I felt like interrupting and saying, no, I don't think so. But I let them just speak because I was dying. I wanted to hear what the conclusion was. And basically, Nathan, it appears that they're all whinging that you're being too heavy-handed with them. Your demanding of evidence is a bit beyond their abilities, it appears. So,
yeah, the scientific method's just
nice
too
to
broad,
be
isn't it?
Otherwise, they're not going to
too
come in.
narrow. It's too narrow. The scientific method, and this is my fault apparently, that the scientific method's so narrow. They need to exclude certain parts of it to broaden it out and help them along their way with their proof that they haven't got. And no, I'm not going to take it easy on any of them. These people demand that we go out and prove this stuff to ourselves in terms of ball Earth, not flat Earth. They say, go out and prove it to yourself. It's like, no, 2,000 years have elapsed with everybody in the scientific community being of the understanding that you live on a sphere. It should be really easy to prove. You should, in that 2,000 years, some scientist at some stage must have adhered to the scientific method and acquired proof of Earth curvature. If we're on a ball, it's got to be there. It's got to be obvious and observable, especially with 2,000 years of globe understanding. So every time somebody comes along like the Rumpus and says, here's a document, it proves the Earth is a sphere, yeah, it's not gonna. I'm not a scientist. It's gonna take me a long time, and I'm gonna need help to go through it. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I'm a YouTuber, but with a bit of time, I can go through it and establish whether or not it does adhere to the scientific method or not. And you know, I was recently sent an article where a different scientist, I don't know his name, I'll dig it out, but a different scientist went through some of the published papers to establish how many of them actually did adhere to the scientific method. And what do you know? 99% of them don't. Less than 1% of them actually adhered to the scientific method. And this guy was essentially saying, you know, the rest of them aren't much use because they don't adhere to the scientific method. And that is science. So, yeah, you can accuse me of having too narrow an understanding of something that's very much set in stone and has been for some time now. You know, if you want to think that my application or my want of an application over the course of the last 2,000 years to prove... Hello, Squiggly.
You bogey bastard.
Is that you, Shroom?
No, Shroom was just in chat. He's told me he's coming to Blackpool to slash me. So
it's okay. Don't worry. I've sent him to bed. He's been sent to his room. He's not allowed out for at least 30 minutes.
So what can we do for you, Squiggly?
It wasn't me that kicked him. It was Ranty.
These trolls are coming and actually talking. You know, let's give them a chance.
But I mean, if they swear when they come in straight away,
yeah,
it's going to be down.
That's why I didn't moan at you for kicking him then. But what I'm saying is, on the whole, it seems like there's been a slight change. And rather than coming in and immediately just trying to snipe the hangout, they're coming in and actually trying to converse with us. And you think, great, that's what it's all about. You know,
they've
joined enough times, you know it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they've just learned to speak, I think. So,
yeah, he did have a bit of a Scottish accent then. Did you notice?
Yeah, I did. I think it might have been.
A little bit like Chris MCM. Or it could have been Alki. I've not heard from Alki for a while. I've not seen him in chat.
Yeah, he seems to have lost relevance. Yeah, you guys were asking me about, I don't know, a couple of days ago, like, did you see Alki's video? I was like, nah, what's it about? It's like, about Google's heights being wrong.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Hello.
Good to
My
have
name
you.
is Abdullah.
Good to have you, my friend.
So your name is Abdullah?
Abdullah Ibrahim.
Abdullah Ibrahima.
Good to have you, Abdullah.
Do you realise that we live on a flat plane that doesn't move?
I realize that, yes, indeed. I believe the earth is spread out like a fucking carpet in the Quran. You know what I'm saying?
Try not to swear. You think the earth's like a carpet from the Quran? Surely you mean a carpet that you would pray on?
No, I mean the earth has been spread out like a carpet to be flat, like it says in the Quran. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. I know what a carpet is.
Like a magic carpet.
Well, no, just a prayer mat.
It is a verse in the Quran. You don't know.
What verse is it in the Quran?
Allah says the earth was spread out like a carpet.
Yeah, what verse is that in the Quran?
That means that's flat.
Do you not know what verse it is?
Google it, bitch.
So the authority that you cite from, you don't know.
Yeah. Muslims are supposed to read this. You know,
sound like a baller, though. That's
know
what
it well.
ballers do.
The Muslims I knew their Quran well.
What are you talking about, man? I don't know the verses off by heart, dude. What the fuck do you think I am?
That's what we were testing. We were testing to see whether you did actually know any of the Quran.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same to a Bible proof, you know. So what? It's just a book.
So you don't believe in a verse? Look up the verse in Google. Google the verse. Google.
But even if it doesn't matter who says it in a book, you know, I can say something, can write it down and get it published in a book.
But it is a flat earth proof that you would like. It's a flat earth proof that you would like, indeed, you know?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not a proof of anything. You know, anybody can say something and have it written down and published. You can even, with scientists, get your mate to say it's correct as well. Peer review. But no, I wouldn't accept that as a proof of anything. You know, maybe wouldn't even accept it as a proof it was said in the first place, let alone the context of what's being said.
So what is the best thing you like about the flat earth? What is the best thing?
Realization. The realization that you've been completely deceived your whole life.
Realization that you wake up from. Did you have an epiphany?
Me,
Did you have an epiphany when you woke up from the flat earth? Or nobody trying to kill us all?
I would absolutely call it an epiphany, yeah. I'd call it that. I call it a eureka moment. But yeah, there was a very distinct moment when...
you know what? I think I would call it a psychotic episode.
Well, you could phrase it as a psychotic episode if you reacted badly to the information, and I'm sure some people do. You know, I've seen people like Flat Earth Vancouver, BC, who I would describe as having had a psychotic episode as a net result of finding out the Earth is flat.
Yeah, it is very traumatizing to your brain when you find out this information is very knowledgeable.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, for me, it was very freeing. You know, it was the opposite. I felt a sense of relief when
the knowledge is very powerful. The knowledge is very, very powerful in my mind.
I agree. Useful for you as an individual.
So when did you become a flat earther infinite time?
I've been a flat earther since infinite time.
That makes sense.
Flat since birth, eh?
So
when did you become a flat earther? When did you become a flat earther?
Whereabouts are you in the world, infinite time?
Scotland.
Why would you want to know that?
Just talking.
It's just conversation. I'm in the UK. Whereabouts are you?
I am in Iraq.
You're in Iraq?
Of course you are.
Is it nice and quiet there?
So what time is it in Iraq? So what time is it in Iraq?
Quickly Googling it, like I
just have. It's a bit like Rumpus, isn't it? You start asking him questions and he starts being quiet.
Quickly, let's put our heads together and do an art calculation.
Yeah.
Figure out what time it is in Iraq. No, that was good fun. Thank you for joining Infinite Time.
Oh, he's gone all quiet now.
He's Googling what time it is in Iraq.
A couple of people have asked me for your wind turbine images. Hello again with Infinite Time.
You fucking kicked me, you body little bitch.
And I don't think anybody did.
You kicked me, body.
No, we didn't kick you. He's still in your Burke.
You can't rejoin on the same account if you've been kicked, so we definitely didn't kick you.
You might have dropped.
No, we're enjoying chatting to you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, so what time is it in Iraq now? Infinite time?
Time for your bed.
Yeah. I'm lost for words.
Yeah, for me too.
No, why?
Well, that was an interesting conversation from Iraq. I'm sure he was in Mosul or Baghdad or wherever. I suspect not.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Alice said the Earth is like a carpet.
I'll be honest. I actually want to go. I want to go to Iraq at some point. I want to see that area. Do you remember that big, massive park where they pulled down that big Saddam statue and they were whacking it with slippers and stuff? I want to see that park. That's going to end up being a tourist attraction in a few years' time. That once it settles down.
You're right.
Are we still here?
Yeah. Oh, it's all good.
Right.
It's all good.
So, is there any ballers out there with any evidence for us? You know, even if it doesn't satisfy the scientific method, I mean, we might just relax it for the sake of conversation.
Don't know about that. So, Randy,
Jamie.
a couple of people have asked if you've got a Jamie. There's definitely don't trust Jamie. Let's just kick him straight out. He's never even attempted to say hello.
A couple of people have asked what?
A couple of people have asked for those photos of the wind turbines, commending you on your excellent flat Earth proof.
Oh right, have they? Right, okay.
That's why I asked for them yesterday. So I didn't ask you permission, but I did just forward them on to a couple of people that had asked for them. So,
right, okay.
So I just said originally I was just like, here's the screen grabs. That's the best I can do, I'm afraid. But then you sent them, and I passed them on. But yeah, any chance you can bring them up?
Oh yeah, give us 2 minutes to find them all.
Anders Ace, you spell you don't spell lose with 2 O's, you Burke. You spell it L-O-S-E. That's lose. What you've put is loose, as in tying of knots and loose knots. Well, okay. So let's stimulate some conversation then. Nathan, would you share my screen, please, sir?
Sure.
I will I'll do a Rumpus-esque presentation. So if I screen share, is that on?
Are you sure you've got enough time? I mean, you've got 25 minutes. No, 35 minutes.
Right. So, where's paint gone? Right. Are we seeing this?
Yep.
All right. So what I'm going to do a sun. I'll give it an. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's get rid of that. I want a circle. We'll put the sun in off the page there, and we'll fill it with a solid color like that. Ah, there we go. And then what we'll do is on the other side of the picture, we will put the Earth.
Yeah, Jim's just another troll. It's the same one as No and what's it called?
Right, okay.
And then we'll put in a third one, which represents the moon.
Flat Earth ball bag. How are you doing? Can you say hello? Hello, and then straight on mute.
And we'll give these that color. Oh, that one. There we go. And this is generally the depiction that we see when it comes to the umbra and the penumbra. And I was discussing this with Dawn Treader and Lottie Says the other day. And the problem is when you do a scale diagram, now this obviously is not to scale, but it's kind of not far from it, because the proximity of the moon to the Earth and the size of the moon to the Earth means that when the moon passes through behind the Earth for a lunar eclipse, we see it in the real world and it lasts a few minutes, 2 at the most 3. But what's supposed to happen on your model is that the period of time that it takes for the moon to go from, like, basically through that period there is measured in days. It's not measured in minutes. And that is the point when it's obscured by the Earth, because the Earth is 4 times bigger. I mean, obviously, it may not be 4 times bigger on my not-to-scale drawing, but it's 4 times bigger. And it's the orbit of the moon around the Earth that takes 27.3 days. That's the problem. So forget about the Earth spinning. What we should see is the period where the moon passes behind or in the shadow of the Earth. That should take days when it's in a lunar eclipse. And we don't see it taking days. We see it taking minutes. Now the Earth spins. So what we should see is the lunar eclipse. And then the next day, we should see the lunar eclipse again, because the moon is in the point where it's in the Earth's shadow. There shouldn't be any light to it. And then the next day, we should see the moon in the Earth's shadow again. And then the next day, we should see it again, because on day 1, it would be there. On day 2, it would be there. On day 3, it might be in the middle. On day 4, it might be there. And I could push it as far as I want, really. I could make it up as I go along. But my point is, whilst it's behind the Earth's shadow, the lunar eclipse, we should see repetitions of daily. We should see it per day, and we see it for minutes every day. Which, when you observe the lunar eclipse, it happens for minutes. That's totally inconsistent with the orbit of the moon around the Earth's, because it takes 27 days for it to get round there. So whatever the size of the shadow is on your model is the duration in days for the moon to pass out of the Earth's shadow. Remember that the moon sits 0.25 of 1% of the total distance to the sun. So that's not disproportionately out. I mean, it's not to scale, obviously, but it's less than 1% of the distance to the sun. So, I mean, that opens out the angle at the back to make it even worse. So that makes it longer. So we should see the lunar cycle over days, not minutes. And we don't see that. And basically, they lie, Ohio, Lottie says, their view was, yeah, but science explains it, and it doesn't explain it, but there is an explanation that doesn't address that point, and they accept it. And my view is, well, that's ridiculous, because we see a lunar eclipse for just minutes. It should take days. We should see it day after day after day. It doesn't happen. And that doesn't take into account the red that we see of it. I mean, this assumes that we're seeing a black moon, with no light getting to it at all. Maybe a little bit of earthshine that Soundly can capture on his special camera. But fundamentally, we should be seeing this over 3 or 4 days, and we shouldn't even see the moon. It should receive no light, possibly earthshine. But if you were going to see earthshine, that would be the time to get it on a lunar eclipse. And of course, it doesn't happen. We see this red smudgy thing that makes it look like someone's got a red piece of film and covered it over the lens of the sun. The light that receives, the light that gets to the moon appears to be red. Yes, I
Music being. Can you hear
Hello?
us? Hello. Good to have you.
I was wondering why you kicked me before. I was wondering why.
You still there, Anthony?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I mean, we've seen the red shadow on the moon, and I've never seen a red shadow before.
Yeah, you don't get red shadows. That's not what happens. I'm just going to do a very quick link, guys, so because we have approximately, 30 minutes left on this live stream, so I hope you're enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below this video once it is rendered. Most importantly though, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you're currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please don't swear if you join. If you do, you'll be ejected, but if you are, you'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream, so please don't try to rejoin this stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, of course, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. Massive thank you to all who have shared thus far. As I say, one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is approximately 30 minutes left on this live stream.
So the issue then was for they lie, Ohio said, well, the redness of the moon is caused by redshift, right? You understand how that works? And I was like, yeah, I understand how it works. It's the longest wavelengths, and the shortest wavelengths are deflected because of apparently the Earth's atmosphere, and that's why the longest wavelengths are caught by the Earth. The other ones are deflected away from the Earth, and that's why the redness of the moon is created because of this redshift. And I thought, well, even if that was true, what about the duration of the day? Let's just give them the color one. Why does it not take days for the lunar eclipse to pass? Because it's a 27.3 day cycle. And for a period of time, the moon is sat in the Earth's shadow because it's like less than 1% of the distance to the sun. It sits in the Earth's shadow for that distance. That's a big problem. And obviously, there was no answers to it. But that's one of the main reasons why. I mean, who was the guy that wanted the orbital mechanics? Was it Was? Sure, Was could come up with a. If it wasn't Was, it was the other Australian guy. I'm sure one of them two could come up with the explanations for why the lunar eclipse only lasts a couple of minutes with an orbital mechanics answer, which is what I'm trying to get to. But that was just something that we spoke about the other day. So shout out to Woz.
Woz says, wasn't me.
So it must have been the other one then.
What you got for us, Ranty?
You asked
brilliant.
for the wind farm images,
Yes.
so I've got a couple of them up.
So yeah, so this is what we're presented with and can be measured mathematically in terms of how much curvature we're seeing. So each of these wind turbines is disappearing, in boat terminology, hull first. That's what we've got. And you can measure out these distances from the nearest one at about 11 miles to the furthest one, which is about 13 miles. And you can do the curve calcs on it and say how much should it be going, according to globe science, over the curve of the Earth. And this is what you end up with. The main problem being that if it's actually conforming to a curve, therefore what you're having visually demonstrated to you is a curve, then they must be curving, right? They must be built on a curve. The problem is they're not. They're not built on a curve at all. They're absolutely flat as a pancake, all of them. So what we've got in terms of this image is various different coloured lines, red, yellow, blue and white, going through all the different... Hi Mark, how you doing?
Hello folks, how are we?
Good to have you. So all the different depths. So again, this is the first line, I think is the red line. Is that correct, Ranty?
Yeah, the nearest, the one on the right. So that would be the first one, the image we were looking at. These ones.
So
these are
this
the red lines.
Yeah. So this row of wind turbines, if you were to go further left in this image, you'd have another row, and then further left still, you'd have another row, and that's what we're seeing in this image. Them going further and further back, and the same effect happening. Obviously, the angular size gets smaller at distance. It's the effect of perspective. So therefore, the ones in the background are smaller. But ultimately speaking, what you see at 11 to 13 miles and is claimed to be curving around the Earth isn't curving around anything. It's absolutely flat as a pancake when you look side on to this. So this was something that I asked Ranty to see if he'd actually got in his myriad of pictures that he's got on his hard drive. Because it was one of the first things I covered on Flat Earth UK. So Fake Spaceman in Space and myself did exactly this demonstration, but we didn't have it anywhere near as cool as Ranty's got it because it's got real world images. So what we did was just showed it in CAD. You know, this is a slightly further angle, so this is looking down the back row from the further distance. So again, we've still got 11 miles at the nearest and 13 miles at the furthest, but we're at a slightly, you know, a more acute angle, or more obtuse angle, sorry. So you can see them going down the line and then actually measure how much the curve calcs say they're dropping behind the curve at 13 miles. And they absolutely are, according to your maths, going around a curve. And it's visible at this distance.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. When you look at it from behind, what was the distance to the turbines from behind, Ranty?
Which ones are you talking about?
You know, the picture that you started with, the one that's on the right there. No, not that one. That's from that you're looking side on there. Yeah. What's the distance to the first turbine?
11 miles, just over.
So there's 11 miles. That's this turbine here.
Sure. So what's that doing from that picture? What that's doing is giving you the lack of exponential curvature. So from the side angle, you could argue that, well, yeah, you're not going to see any curvature left to right. But when you go behind them at 11 miles, there's an exponential buildup of curvature that's dropping away from you in the picture. So on the ball Earth model, it would be the case that from when you're looking at them when they go left to right and you're looking at them like front on, yeah, you're not going to see any curvature left to right. But when you stood behind it from 11 miles away, there's an exponential drop that's missing there. It shouldn't be going down in a straight line. It should be exponentially dropping, and 11 miles is a good distance to show that it's not doing it.
And what we actually see is we actually can put a straight line through these turbines here from a distance of 11.5 to 13.5 miles. So let's get the right image up, which is this one. This is the line going through the turbines of the left-hand wind turbines.
I just want to give that clarity. Sorry. So what this image of, although they look like they're next to each other, you're looking down the line So you're looking from front to back, even though they look like they're next to each other. This is what you're looking at from front to back, just a slightly greater angle, so they look like they're next to each other. Obviously, the blades aren't going to smash into each other. They're not next to each other. You're looking down the line from 11 to 13 miles. Sorry.
Yeah, so you're looking at this one, then that one, then this, and this. Okay. So as we're looking at these ones here, they're all going through the center of the hub, right? This line is going through the center of the hub. Now, if we put that on a perspective and put a line in, we put the hard horizon at the bottom and we're doing this perspectively, essentially it matches pretty much the curvature calcs. So the curvature calcs say that the hub should disappear at 10.3 miles past the first turbine. So that's probably around about, what, 22 miles or so. The hub should be gone. But on this diagram here, it says basically 11 miles past the first turbine, they should disappear due to perspective and angular change. So they're getting smaller as they're going further away in the distance. So what you have to try and judge yourself is it getting smaller and looking like it's going over a curve, or is it just changing due to perspective on here? Because this one is obviously looking smaller than this one, but you put a line through them, and if it was going over a curve, the curve would be arced slightly. It would be arced, but it's completely straight.
Yeah, it's because it's a factor of the 8 inches per mile squared that leaves you with this exponential drop at distance. So when you start looking at stuff going between 11 to 13 miles, of course you can see the curve, it gets exponentially more because it's a ball. So yeah, the further out you look, the more ball you see. It's like, well, if that's true, then this must be conforming to that ball. And it isn't.
Yeah. Now remember, 11 to 13 miles, that's not that different to what Soundly shows on his pylons and bridge Pontchartrain stuff. So what Soundly's showing is claimed to be the curvature of the Earth, which we all realise is not. But if it was the curvature of the Earth, we should be seeing the same thing here. Not on this picture where it's left to right curvature, because it isn't enough of a span. But from behind, when you're looking at the same turbines, but from behind, it's 11 miles away. There is built up and accumulated and an exponential curve drop that is required to be there by virtue of that fact of it being 11 miles. And as you can see, there is none. Absolutely none. There is no exponential drop.
The ball Earth bullshit is just bullshit. You know, just because something's 13 miles away doesn't mean it starts to go around the curve of the Earth and you can see this exponential drop, because that's nonsense. You know, that exponential factor would have to be seen in the side elevation. You know, if the Earth is a ball, and it isn't a ball, it's flat.
Yeah, but what the points I was making was that there's no exponential drop on the left to right curvature picture, so it would be minuscule and they wouldn't be able to detect it. That's their argument. But on that picture, where it's taken from behind, it should be exponentially seen because it's 11 miles away. There is a build-up of 11 miles of curvature before you get to the first turbine. And by the last turbine, there should be a prominent, pronounced, and obvious curve. You should see it.
Yeah, and all we see is the effects of perspective.
Yeah.
Which coincidentally match the maths for drop. What do you know?
Yeah. So are you suggesting, Nathan, that the curve calculations are simply a calculation for perspective?
Yeah, they are. And they've incorporated refraction. Simple. They've basically observed how the world works and then co-opted the maths to work with the sphere, to convince people that when you look out beyond 10 miles, you see this exponentially increasing drop of things falling behind a curve, and that's impossible. You can't have that happening unless things physically are curving around the Earth, and they're not.
I've got something to show you today, gentlemen.
Cool. I think we're at the end.
Can you hear me okay, by the way? I've got my speaker on because I'm looking after the child. I need to be able to listen.
No worries.
On Sunday, we had a fabulous day. Can you share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Can you see that, yeah?
Not yet. You're not shared just yet. But once you are, I'll pop you up.
One day I'll get this right.
All right.
Share screen.
There we go.
That come up now?
Yeah, that's come up now.
Where was I? Yeah, Sunday was a beautiful day. Now, this isn't a slam dunk by any means. It's borderline where the ballers will say, "Ah, no, but for refraction," and we're saying, "Yeah, but you can see." So I just share it with you anyway. It was a beautiful day on Sunday, and you can see on the left-hand side of the screen there, you've got Ireland, where I live, and then you've got Scotland on the right-hand side. And I was in a little place called Donaghadee. Oh, bollocks. Sorry, watch my language. Let's just go further in. Little place called Donaghadee, and I was able to see on the other side a lighthouse close to Port Patrick, and this is the image. That's the lighthouse that I could see, and it was 21 miles away. And according to my research, it's 160 feet above sea level. And this is what I could see from Ireland. And in the background there, you can see Scotland. You see that?
Yeah, we've got it up on screen. The audience can see it too.
Yeah, just put it up there. Now we have here a group of buildings, and to the right of it, we also have some caravans. I'll increase the contrast. You see that row of caravans there?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and then if we just come back a bit to the town of, more caravans there, by the way, and that's the town of Port Patrick. And then just 2 miles up the coastline, we come to a white dot, which is the, come on. There we go, that's it there. That white dot there is the lighthouse.
Very cool.
So it's 20 miles away. I shouldn't be able to see it by a few feet, but I'm pretty confident that I can see a lot of it.
Can we do the globe head maths on it, as we've got no globe heads here, and one of you play devil's advocate?
Yeah, there we go. Let's find out. Where's Metabunk? There we go. 21 miles away. I was 10 foot above sea level, so the refracted hidden is 161 feet.
That's if you're invoking magical, miragey, loomy stuff. We don't.
That's right. Yeah, we're giving them the benefit of the doubt there. Yes.
No. We're not doing that anymore. That's subject to them proving there's a radius. So we're not giving them the refracted hidden value. So go back to the maths and show us what the value is without the refracted hidden.
Okay.
We want to know what the geometric drop is. So it's 195
feet hidden, according to their model of globe. Okay, and how high do you say the top of the lighthouse is?
160 feet above sea level. That's including the cliff that it's standing on.
So it's another ghost in their model.
So there we go. You see,
has to be accounted for with refraction then, because it's not there.
But what I could also find in the background, way up in the background, there was mountains with snow on them. If we can find those. Here we go.
Have you done Peak Finder to find out what mountain it is?
Yeah, there you can see that in the background there.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll go back to Google. And I believe I'm looking at this Galloway Forest Park area where there's snow on the mountains.
I'd agree.
Have you checked it though with Peak Finder?
I'd agree you're looking in that direction. But
do you not want
whether
it?
you're seeing that far?
I don't want it.
What height are those mountains there? Do you know?
I don't know. You're the expert at doing that.
Well, as you hover over it, it should show you in the bottom right-hand corner. It should say what the height is.
Let me get rid of this then.
Yeah, you just hover over it. Hover over the area.
To give you the height and feet bottom right, but my icons cover them, unfortunately, Mark.
Sorry, say that again.
So bottom right of Google Earth, it'll give you the height in feet. Don't. You just need to move your mouse over the mountain and then just look at the bottom of your screen in Google Earth, and it'll show you the height in feet. You see it changing at the bottom right.
It'll say ELEV. Sorry, ELEV.
No, gentlemen, I'm not getting that.
But at the very bottom on the right.
I've got 10 kilometers up there. Oh, if I click this, it's South Ayrshire. Gentlemen, I'm not getting that. Should I be? No.
Any chance you can bring this up, Anthony?
Bring what up?
This Google Earth, just so you can have a look at it while we're looking at it.
Yeah, you
Sorry, I
want,
wasn't listening to what I was too
Quick look now. It's
Sly. Ranty, Sly's asking. Ranty, Sly's asking, what was the distance between the first turbine and the last turbine? You know, when you're looking at the turbines from behind. I think it was 11 and 13 miles. Is
Hang
that
on,
right?
wait a minute. Let me. Is he talking about the wind turbines that are really close together, or the ones that are spaced out?
The ones that are really close together from behind. He wants to know what the distance from the observation point from to the first one and the last one.
Right, bear with me.
That's cool, Mark. We'll definitely look at that more. I love lighthouses that aren't supposed to be there.
We can have it.
yeah, I tried again for the Carver Man this morning, but it was too murky. I'm not giving up on that one yet.
Yeah, man, Ranty the second. You're out there doing it. I love it.
Right, the first one's 11.55 miles away, and the furthest one is 13.45, 13.4.
And what was your observer height at the time when he took that picture?
3 feet.
So that's a lot of drop there, Sly. A lot of accumulated drop that we do not see on either profile. Why is that the case? A massive thank you to all who shared this live debate. You are all ace. Is Shroomy ace? I'm not sure
If you
Shroomy
shared.
is.
Yeah, Mark, I do think you are seeing those mountains in the background for
Sorry,
sure.
can you just repeat the measurements again? Hey,
Oh,
Shroomy.
man, fuck Benny, this stupid ass bald head, man. Slap that baldy ass stupid head. Fuck that stupid baldy ass. I mean, slap that shit.
Hey, Shroomy.
Who is that?
Can you just bring the distances up on screen once more, Ranty? I'll just pop them up on screen. I know you went through them, but apparently connection problems.
Oh, he has connection, so you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, just so you've got the numbers up on screen with the exact measurements. Rather than saying them.
I would slap the baldy head off your head, dude.
Am I sharing?
Yep.
What do you do? You hacking me or something?
View what, sorry?
There we go.
11.54 for the first.
11.55 to the first turbine on the right. The back turbine is 13.4, 13.41, something like that. Well, there we go.
Jobs are good. Thank you, Ranty.
So just to be clear, his observer height is about 3 feet on the beach above the water. 11.55 was for the first one, 13.41 for the second one. Where's the accumulated drop, Sly? Now we can understand and we get the reason why there wouldn't be an accumulated drop on the side profile, but when you're looking from behind, if we live on a ball and we're to accept refraction soundly as evidence, then there should be an accumulated drop at 11 and 13 miles. And it's prominent. It gets worse and worse and worse, yet we see it as a straight line. Where's the accumulated drop?
Yeah, there isn't one. If there was one, they'd be on a.
You're not meant to
dropping,
give him the answer.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that even regardless of what he comes up with, if they're dropping because they're on a sphere, then you'd see that and it would be measurable on the side elevation.
Yeah, but it's not accumulated on the side elevation.
Yeah, it's the same with perspective. That's why, you know, the perspective doesn't get severe enough for things to get much, much smaller exponentially at distance until you get beyond about 10 miles, right? So, yeah, that's their excuse. But if stuff at 10 to 13 miles is dropping because there is a drop, then you would be able to see that same exact drop inside profile. The same as you saw it from front on if you're calculating how much it's dropping.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Because it's accumulating.
Yeah, it
when
doesn't
you look
matter.
at the side on, it's
that's
not
my
accumulated.
point. The maths doesn't work. If you're going to say that you only get to see the curve accumulating exponentially at a distance, then that necessitates the stuff still being on a curve, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can't just have a curve that gets exponentially worse from your position. That's relative. Well, you can't have relative curve.
Yeah, that's right,
it's either curving or it isn't. It's either on a curve. If it's built on a curve, you can see it's built on a curve.
Yeah,
That's
but Nate, if I was a baller, I would argue that when you're looking at them side on, left to right, not from the back side of it, but from left to right side, you're only going to get 2 to 3 miles worth of curve drop. That's
I know what their argument is. They're saying, well, when you see it in side elevation, you're not seeing a wide enough image to see enough curvature. It's like, well, what's the curve we're seeing from 13 miles then?
Correct. There's an accumulated drop from 13 miles.
Right. That's exactly my point. If it is dropping because it's built on a curve and they're getting exponentially worse as they go round that curve, and that's what we see in the image front on, them going around a curve, then the exact same curve will be visible side on. It's not going to suddenly change. Why would it? It's a curve. It's just built on a curve, right? The Earth's curves and this stuff's built on them, adhering to the curve. So you'd be able to see it. You don't, because it isn't there. It's just perspective.
The drop is not exponential. Why is it not? Yes, it is. Unless you're going to be semantical over the interpretation of the word exponential, it is a gradual but getting worse drop.
Arwen's got the terminology perfect. It's an accumulative drop.
Cumulative, yeah, that's probably a better word. Although exponential is not the wrong word.
Exponential's not incorrect either. Hi, Ruhif.
Hello.
Last couple of minutes of the show.
Exponential's technically incorrect, but I mean, everyone understands what you mean, so I'll let it go.
Hey, Arwen, is that really you?
Yeah.
Good to have you. Latecomers.
You guys went on really early this time.
Yeah, like my kids weren't even in bed, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just find that if we go on too late, we get too many of the American trolls on. P-Mars must have went to bed. So, anything that you want to add to round out the show, Haruhif?
How long to go? When's it start? Hold on.
5 minutes, maybe we got.
5 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, about that.
Well, maybe we could ask you to look into this. Did you see what we were saying about the turbines and the accumulated drop?
No, but I've literally only just come down to the study to talk to you guys.
Ranty's got the same set of turbines from two different profiles. One is from behind at a distance of 11 to 13 miles, and the other one is in front of the turbines that's looking left to right, but they're right in front of you. And we can understand that when you're looking front on, there's not going to be a lot of curve to perceive. But from behind at 11 and 13 miles, there is a definite and pronounced, prominent, and obvious curve that should be there, and we can join all the hubs in a straight line from 3 feet.
Okay.
Do you want to show them the pictures, Ranty, so we can see?
Yeah, show me which pictures you're talking about. That'll help.
And yes, like it would look like an arch because you're at 11 to 13 miles. Can't you perspective, dude? Don't you understand what cumulative drop means?
Drop at an
increasing rate. Yeah.
That's what it means.
So this is the picture from behind, and the first turbine's about 11 miles. The final turbine's 13 miles or so away. There should be a cumulative drop.
Yeah, the ones on the right further back.
Yeah, they're going away from you. There's the picture from above.
First turbine on the left, last turbine on the right.
So you're looking from the bottom to the top there, right? Bottom of the screen to the top. Okay.
Yep. And then we have the side-on view, which, so if we look at there's 4 sets of wind turbines, they're all in a straight line. I've marked them off individually for you know, the red line is obviously for the nearest ones.
Yep.
Oh, what happened there?
This is Burbo Bank or Burbo Bank extension.
It is, yeah. My screen's
Which one though?
Hang on. My screen's just gone bananas.
Ranty, you are going to be swapping onto Windows 10 today, aren't you?
Yeah, I will.
Excellent. Ruhifi uses Windows 7 on a mechanical HDD, high density disk, that is full, and he wonders why it's slow and non-responsive.
So
he does have an SSD.
The red line goes through the turbines that are on the near side, so the center of the hubs. They all go through the center of the hubs. Same with the rest. The white line is the next set of turbines. The blue one, the green one's the furthest one away. So if we look through the green turbine ones, they go through the hub as well. Everything's completely straight, as you'd expect to see on a flat plane. There's profile for the back one, which was the green one there, is this image. Again, the distance to this is 11.55 miles to this one. And to this one, it's 13.7. And I'll show you that on Google Earth. No, I won't. Not responding.
But you've been through this in the Hangout, right?
Yeah. But what we're seeing is...
I'll just watch it back later.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just seeing the white line go through the hubs, basically. We're not seeing this slight arcing that you would expect to see as they go around the curve.
Okay. So we've only got like 3 or 4 minutes, right? Can I pose a question?
Yeah.
What is stopping you guys from actually making observations to work out a model for the flat Earth?
Okay, well, we might have an answer to that, because essentially, if we look at these turbines, and I've put a red line, the bottom of the red line goes through the middle of the hubs, basically, and the red line here goes along the horizon. And what we're seeing is, obviously, the turbines are getting smaller, right, as they go further away. But eventually, 11 miles past the first turbine, they disappear out of our view. The angular size and the distance has changed so much that they're no longer visible, the same as would appear on a ball. And the model for the ball says that this, where my cursor is now, 10.3 miles, is where the hubs should vanish.
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.